That was Africa Daily on Africa Global Radio. The name is Barby Musa. We are about to step into our discussion zone where we talk. You are welcome with your thoughts, comments, and of course contributions. Tell us what you think about our discussion for today. We will be talking about bullying. And we all know where this takes place the most. Institutions. Talk about our educational institutions. From the basic level to the second cycle, even the tertiary, where everybody seems to be, I'm an adult now, so allow me function. One way or the other, you find some elements in there taking place. Unfortunately, that is not what we want. All right, let's get on to conversation right here, and stay with me.
I'm T. Michael, based in Norway, Bergen, right here in Ghana, in Africa, and I listen to Africa Global Radio.
I absolutely love listening to Africa Global Radio. Please, guys, keep listening. Let's keep Africa going.
All right, definitely gonna keep Africa going. Yeah, Hafiz.
Barry,
How are you today?
I'm okay.
Nice. Have you ever in your life been bullied? You want to start thinking?
That's a tough one.
You've never been.
Well, someone has tried, though, but they didn't succeed.
Where? In school?
Yes, in school. In school.
SHS?
Oh, countless number of times.
SHS? JHS?
Primary.
Oh, from primary.
JHS, no. SHS,
Yes.
that's it. Yeah.
And I believe that was when you were a freshman. Form 1.
Yeah.
Mostly that's where it actually takes place, because when you find
Absolutely.
yourself in your second year, you're neither here nor there. So there's that. You'll be able to at least carry
No,
yourself.
even for freshmen, not all freshmen suffer bullying.
That's true. I agree. But bullying is our conversation for today. I think is one of the elements we find in our school culture. And we see it to be it's part of us. I mean, and sometimes it's actually fun to talk about it, especially if you're a boarder or you go to school like, Charlie, today my senior punished me. I had to go carry water. He had to make me weed. He had to make me do this. Sometimes take my food and all of that stuff. But I mean, we often hear these conversations, when we watch some of these foreign movies and everything, and how they take matters of bullying serious. You see, they could call a certain student or certain people to the principal's office and start. Sometimes you go on suspension, you get grounded for bullying such a person and everything. So it's actually a big thing. I don't know if we don't see it as bullying here. It's like a senior. Oh, they say punish. No, yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah,
I'll come to the secondary school bits.
Right.
But let's start with bullying in itself.
Mm.
What is it? And you see, the thing about bullying, because you see, bullying is something that we've all had to deal with at some point in our lives.
Yeah.
Okay? Whether as the perpetrator or the victim.
Right.
One way or the other, you had to deal with a situation
absolutely
that involves bullying.
Right.
And the thing about it is that it is no respect of persons, especially age. Adults get bullied too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Children get bullied and adults. So it doesn't respect your age or what level you are. Okay, you can either be on the receiving end or you can be the one actually perpetrating it. So it's a two-edged kind of thing. Okay, it goes both ways, and that's because of the types of bullying. The shapes or the forms it takes.
Okay.
Because it's not just one form. Because naturally, when you talk about bullying, most people assume physical bullying.
Yeah.
Where it involves the kicking, the pinching.
Someone stronger than you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
basically,
inflicting some pains on you.
Or the hitting. That's just basically physical bullying. So people just think that is it.
Right.
But there are other forms or types of bullying that sometimes we don't even take cognizance of. For instance, verbal bullying.
Yeah.
Now, verbal bullying has to do with the passing of certain snide remarks, insults.
Yeah.
In certain contexts, racist remarks as well, and so or name calling. These are all forms of verbal.
You call someone fat.
This is fat shaming. How dare you even say the F word? Anyway,
Really?
so,
Yeah.
but that's bullying in the verbal sense, and there's also social bullying, where in that manner with social bullying, it is usually either covert or clandestine, if I should put it, because normally the person that is even on the receiving end sometimes that don't even realize they are bullied.
Mm.
So, for instance, spreading lies or rumors about a particular person, or just basically behaviors that would cause some form of disaffection and social exclusion.
Mm.
Yes, that in itself, that is social bullying.
Okay.
Yes, and the last one we know cyberbullying, and cyberbullying is just either covert or overt.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
usually done in plain sight or not. That's what
Mm,
I mean.
mm.
And but via technologies. So online, you have people spreading all kinds of unfounded rumors about you. Some would go as far as Photoshop your face onto a naked image.
Yeah, I mean we
Just
see that
to-
every now and then. So
Yes, just to push a certain agenda, and
Mm.
sometimes you don't even know who is behind some of these
Yeah,
things.
mm.
But these stories just turn up, and yet you have some of these things happening,
Mm.
and that's what we call, cyberbullying.
Cyberbullying.
So it comes in various types. So no matter who you are,
Mm.
at some point, like I said, you are either on the receiving end
Or the
one,
victim,
or you
or
or
the
the one perpetrating
perpetrator.
it.
Right,
Yes, so
right.
it happens. Now, the thing about it is that, thankfully, for even the type, let's say the social bullying that is not so obvious.
Right.
Now, for you to identify a certain behavior as bullish, there are certain three common denominators when a person exhibits a bullish behavior.
Mm.
One, it must be consistent. It must be an action that is repeated.
Mm.
Two, it must be intended to cause harm
Okay.
of any form. And three, it comes from a place of imbalance of power.
Right.
So let me just give a clear example.
Hmm.
So let's say I wake up one morning and I find a zit on my face. A slang for pimple.
Mm.
To sound more Ghanaian, pimples. So,
Yeah. Pimples.
so if you have that on your face,
Yeah.
then maybe you walk into school or wherever it is you frequent, and you have someone call you, "Hey, Z face." So they call you Z face, and maybe after 2, 3, maybe 4 days,
Mm.
it's no longer there. You dealt with it.
Yeah.
But this particular individual
Keeps identifying you.
insists on calling you Z face,
Yeah. Yeah.
even though repeatedly you've told them, "Don't call me Z face. I have a name.
Right.
Use it,
Mhm.
but just don't call me that." And
Yeah.
they keep on calling you.
Yeah.
Now remember, that action is what, like I said, bullish behavior is what? Repeated.
Mm.
So it's deliberate.
Mm.
So repeated check.
Mhm.
Then, like I said, it's meant to cause harm. Now in this case, it might not be physical harm, but psychological here.
Right.
Because they keep calling you Z face, something you don't like. But the harm here is caused because, in the sense that it's meant to cause some form of disaffection for you.
Mhm.
Okay, to encourage others to do the same. Oh, well, I can call him Z face. Well, you can also call him Z face as well. So even though repeatedly you've told them not to call you that because it will cause some form of harm, they keep doing it. Why? Because, well, I mean, it will lead to whatever harm it is
Yeah.
they want to.
Yeah.
Now, I said lastly, it comes from an imbalance of power.
Yeah.
And usually it is done from, so let's say in a school setting, you have a senior doing it to a junior.
Mhm.
In a workplace, let's say an adult, you are looking at your boss doing it to you, the subordinate.
Yeah.
So you have that power dynamic also at play.
Mhm.
So in the end, the victim feels helpless.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mm.
So let's concentrate on a child. So as a child or children,
Mm.
let's look at bullies in the sense of children. Now, for children, when you talk about a bully or someone that bullies, you realize that for children, they come with a certain characteristic. For bullies as kids, they are usually the popular kid. They are
Yeah.
usually the stronger one. They are usually the bigger one.
Yeah. And the ones who know nothing in class. It's one of those characteristics.
Well, it sounds personal. Maybe somebody.
No.
Why did you jump with it like that?
I just had to make that point. I was eating to make that point.
Your bully didn't do anything.
That guy was an empty barrel.
Charlie.
Yeah.
So that's it in the sense of children. Now, for
Okay.
children that are likely to be bullied or the vulnerable ones, you realize they are usually from a poor background. They are
Okay.
usually kids that suffer some form of disability.
Mhm.
So they are targets, easy
Yeah.
targets and let's say a black kid also in a white dominated school is likely to
Yeah.
be a target of some form of racist jokes and everything.
Mm.
So these are some of maybe the characteristics. Sometimes, I mean, these are situations that would open you up for bullies and everything.
Mm.
So now in certain instances for kids, they don't even say it. They don't even say it. So
Okay.
you as a parent would have to look out for the signs of
Yeah,
your kid
yeah,
being bullied. Yes, because every now and again they will exhibit certain signs. They won't say it, but before we come to the prevention, definitely is something I want to look at. So for the signs, you realize that a kid that is getting bullied, watch out for how their behavior towards money. Some of them will keep losing the money you give them. Okay, when you observe it's a certain there's a certain pattern. Maybe there's a bully that is constantly taking their money. They'll rather just come and tell you, "Oh,
It's
I lost
missing.
it."
Okay.
Okay, instead of saying that, "Oh, this boy or this girl took my money." Now there's also the fear of going to school for kids. Okay, yes, it's okay. Maybe first few days, first few weeks, they don't want to go to school. But every day,
There's a kid
Yeah.
in Tamale where there was a time. This boy has never, ever since he moved from primary 6 to JHS 1, he's that person who never wanted to go to school again. He totally transformed, and the mom couldn't
understand.
agree to that's change. Like,
Yes,
you've been
so
that lively one out of my kids. Why?
obviously there's
There was
something,
a day she followed him to school. Apparently, there was a guy
Totally.
who made him aware that they can't be. He told him that there can't be two kings in one
in
kingdom.
the kingdom. Okay.
So the mom had to go to the school.
Wow.
And yes,
So imagine exactly. So I mean, you catch your child, someone that is lively, wakes up and can't wait to go to school. All of a sudden they're like, nah, I don't want to go to school.
I just don't want to go to school.
Obviously something is up. Okay, because bullies never stop. Okay, they just get a kick out of it, just making your life a living hell. They never stop.
Yeah.
So as a parent, this is where you need to keep a close eye on your kid or your ward, if you want to put it that way. So I said fear of going to school, losing money. There's also academic performance.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
clearly it declines.
Exactly, because I mean, if it's not just physical, it's psychological as well. So
Yeah.
if the kid concentrated in class and was very brilliant, all of a sudden you see their results tank. So you need to watch out for that. Then there are unexplained bruises and cuts and stuff. So maybe you can trace it back to a teacher or some form of corporal punishment, if that's a thing. But
Yeah.
and the kid doesn't say. They don't want to say. Also, there's being nervous. Okay,
Yeah.
anxious and all of a sudden acting jittery and everything. There's also absenteeism. Yes, sometimes you send the kid or on his way to school. You know he's on his way to school.
But he passes somewhere else.
He goes somewhere else. You
So
find out
why-
that for the last month you dropped him off,
Guy
he
has not
wasn't
been
in
to
school.
school. Dear Lord, dear Lord. The show was Africa Daily on Africa Global Radio, and we are discussing bullying today. Well, if you have a kid who has been exhibiting some of these characteristics that Hafiz just mentioned, please go to the school and have a conversation, like a thorough conversation, or possibly have it with the kid. Push them, because the surface questions might not really bring out what you intend, finding out. You need to push further. If you don't get anything, you go to the school. If there's anybody in the class that he's scared of, he might point it out, and then, you might find the resolution to that. But then, Hafiz.
Yes, and lastly, they become unusually secretive. So
Yeah.
So if the kid wasn't keeping secrets, you realize,
Now.
I mean, they are hesitant to tell you, even though they are dying inside.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but there are ways you can pick this up. So maybe later I'll bring that up.
Okay. Well, before we get to the later conversations where, possibly recommendations on how you can actually, get out of this whole mess, which clearly affects you emotionally, psychologically, and physically, because, like Hafiz mentioned, your academical performance might, go down the drain, bruises, I mean, some parts of your body might just get this wound and everything, and everybody starts wondering, where did you get that from? And you keep mute because you don't want to say it. And then you just lose that self-confidence of yours, because when you appear amongst your mates, your colleagues in school, and you identify that person, even if it's something that you want to do, you just lose hope, because you know that he's going to call you by the name that you don't want and all of that. But like I said, is this something that we have identified here or in some parts of Africa as bullying, or we just see it as a culture? Because yesterday, one of the An incident actually took place here in Albany's Ghana where a junior student, a Form 1 student, a freshman, was stabbed as a result of the senior bullying them. And this is an extreme, what do you call it, outcome where, as a result of bullying, one got stabbed. This has never, I have never heard it before. And the one of the I think the teachers or the something director of education in that region was talking about. I mean, this has been part of the school culture. So so at that point I was like, okay, so is it that we don't consider that, we don't see bullying as a thing, or what? Because if you say it's part of our culture, it's like we've normalized it that you go to school, you need to have one senior who is constantly on your neck. That it goes a long way to be like a history bit of your time in school. You talk about it. I had this senior, Charlie, every day I have to go and fetch water for them. If I don't go, I get 5. I get this lash on my hand being used. I mean, belts and everything. Yeah. I think this. I'm sure you've read about this story in Kumasi here in Ghana.
Yes, I said Konongo Dumasi, right? Yes. Well, very unfortunate incident there that took place. But then it also presents an opportunity for us to reevaluate, in your words, our secondary school culture and the way we do things over there. It's a conversation that is long overdue.
Right.
Now, you see, my take on this is simple. I think that there's an unspoken endorsement of a certain treatment that we give to freshers or freshmen.
That is true.
In our various secondary schools.
True.
Now, I don't know about other African countries, and when I say this endorsement is from both parents, even to the teachers. Okay?
Right.
And it's high time we have a conversation about that. Okay? Because you see, when these things happen, okay, I mean, bullying or what we call punishment, sometimes we
call it punishment. We don't call it bullying.
Exactly. We just assume that, okay, it's a byproduct of being in the boarding house. It's part of the whole boarding experience.
Or being in a second cycle institution.
So nobody actually sees a problem with certain behaviors.
Yeah.
And because it cuts across. Okay. Even the principal you intend complaining to, or whoever it is,
sometimes tell you
the authority head, they'll tell you that, oh, we all went through this. So especially if the person seated there is an alum, they'll tell, oh, it's something we all went through. So you'll go through it before you. I mean, later you look back on it. You look back at it and be like, yeah, well,
it was all part of it.
And you see, and it will surprise you to even take note that some parents actually endorse this behavior. Why? Because a lot of them would even prefer boarding arrangement to a day one, because they say these behaviors or encountering all these behaviors
it will shape you.
Exactly, it's good for your character development. I remember I had my fair share of stuff back in secondary school. I remember my first few weeks I couldn't take it, and instead of complaining to authorities, I think I went to complain to my uncle then, like, yo, I can't take this anymore.
Man up.
I need to get out of this place. It's hell.
You were running away.
It's hell on it.
What was his response?
Good. He simply laughed. I said, well, he knew this was going to happen, but hey, I would have to man up.
Suck it up.
Yes, I have to man up. And I remember going back to school, anytime I got to the gates.
There's that fright.
Exactly. You felt bad. It was like,
again,
it was like going to prison or something. Like, and nobody should be made to feel that way.
Yeah.
But those were my first years. I mean, as a freshman, it was hell on it. So, but with this experience I'm recounting, trust me, you have so many people. Ima or Perfect here would probably give you an even bigger example of the sort of things they went through, during their secondary school days. And I remember there was this hashtag sometime like SHS Diaries.
Diaries, yes. Where people recounted on
some
of the
kept
events.
Putting out some of the things they had gone through. And lots of the accounts, you realize that
had to do with bullying.
Yes,
Mm.
that's what
My
it was.
senior, my senior, my senior,
Oh,
my
one time,
senior, or my
and
junior, my junior.
you have people laughing about them, but some you just realize, no, you guys
This
need.
is-
I mean, you need therapy. You don't have to be laughing about them.
You did what? Therapy. Did you just say therapy?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they are way too extreme to be considered as a school culture where a senior gets to do this to a junior and we find it okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you see, the disturbing part of it again is that for every school,
Mm.
there's a certain treatment that is given to freshmen. So, and which is almost legalized.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, it's a school tradition, it's a school kind of thing.
Mm.
I mean, in my school, we call it Nino's nights or Ninos when you come in.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, though. Perfect
You
is
got a
not
name for yours? What do you call it?
Every school,
Nino Nights. Okay.
every school
Yeah, Nino,
has
like,
some
yeah.
sort of name they call
Yeah.
freshmen. So they make fun of you. You get to pick up the trash. You
Yeah.
go to the dining hall.
They
Sometimes you
paint
bring
your
food.
face. Yeah.
And you lose the pieces of meat in there. I mean, there was this jollof and egg, Charlie. We could kill for that egg. You go and struggle, walk in there, get it. You come, your senior tells you to bring it. He picks out the egg and then you have to go and eat the rice. Just
Dear
like,
Lord, no protein for you.
oh
man.
yeah, yeah. And
Right.
and there was this guy. When you're coming upstairs, you tell, hey, my friend, stop. On the stairs, he would take the food, eat it, and give it to him. Just go and wash.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Ah, dear.
Is it? So and you
That's
go
how
through
bad
this.
it can be sometimes.
Oh yeah.
You know,
And these
yeah.
are some of just a few things. So like but at some point, like I got used
Mm.
to that. Like really, I'm just like, well, just
I
buy
think
them.
everybody.
And
at
you
the
see,
point
when
in
it
time
happens like
gets
that,
used to.
When the freshman understands, okay, first term, second,
Uh-huh.
but it's third term, they get used to like, okay,
They
well,
adapt.
I'm just biding my time.
Yeah.
Okay, my time will come,
Right.
and I'll unleash something similar, if not worse,
Charlie,
on someone.
you
Come.
guys did it, eh? You guys did it. He said, yeah,
so-
he
so-
did it.
and it
Emmanuel,
never
you also
stops.
did it. Right.
So it's almost like, yeah,
It's a culture. Like it's part of life.
So I mean, you see the buzz surrounding our National Science and Maths Quiz program here in Ghana, where and I mean, it's almost like what Nigerians, BB Niger does for Nigerians. I mean,
Yeah,
here
yeah, yeah, that's-
in Ghana, it's
yeah.
about the NSMQ,
Yeah.
where I mean, people are still very much affiliated to their secondary schools,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
even their
yeah.
universities. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and they talk about these secondary schools with so much passion
Passion. Yeah.
because of the way they the sort of life they live there and the sort of impact it had on their upbringing.
Mm.
So that's how big it is. So you have a whole generation that that will tell you this is the way we do things. Okay, it's just like the Rasta Kid case where you
Yeah.
have old students telling you, no, this is the way we do things in
Yeah.
our school because there's so much invested in it.
Mm.
So secondary education is huge over here in Ghana. It's just unfortunate that it got to that level. Like I said, yes, it's one conversation we've decided
Neglected.
to
Yeah.
sweep under the rug every now and then. And right now, as unfortunate as it is, it has opened the floodgates for us to actually
Oh yeah.
have a civil conversation about
Mm.
the treatment we give to people. These the sort of treatment with for some reason normalized.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because we see is experience. We glorify suffering.
It's part of school culture. Yeah. You need to suffer before.
You have to suffer.
Charlie.
And so he gets out there. He gets into a little, he gets to a point where he's in a place of position to impact or also influence someone. Then he's like, okay, well, it's payback time. So I mean,
Yeah.
someone has to pay for
I know, right?
everything I went through.
Mm.
Yes, and I mean, it just takes people because for me, I think later when I became a senior,
Mm.
there was this guy that came in.
Uh-huh. And what did
You
you
know.
do?
No.
Expose yourself.
No, he was just one confused boy. So he had his own issues. I don't need to compound it anyway. So I think the one thing I asked him to do was I hated doing laundry, like washing my clothes and everything. So one time he was washing actually. So I asked him to wash a shirt or so.
And he did it.
He said something disrespectful before he did it. I can't remember what, but he was my dad's namesake, so I call him Dad.
Okay.
Yeah, he said something very disrespectful. It's not punishment. Well, a colleague of mine heard him say that. Something very I can't remember exactly, but he was being very disrespectful. I took it back. I said, don't do it. So I took it back. And a colleague of mine wasn't having it. Like, this is how you pamper these kids. I'm supposed to treat him. I said, no. So, and that was it. I just iced him out. For me, it wasn't something that I was too bothered about. So, I'd rather not speak to him.
But,
So
but
yeah.
I listened to the Minister of Education here and talked about how it's about time we
Yeah,
need
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
to condone some of these things we think is part of life and part of school life. And if you don't get punished, you don't get, laid, as they say, by a senior, then you haven't been to school. Come on.
You see, like I said, it goes from parents to teachers,
Mm.
and these two groups. I mean, it's not something for just teachers to sit and have a conversation. The PTAs
Oh, yeah.
also have to be part of this conversation because, like I said, some parents put their kids through boarding school purposely for this. Actually,
Yeah.
yes, if maybe they feel the child is recalcitrant or yes,
it
so. It's I mean being amongst your peers
yeah,
that
it-
can
it just
actually have a handle on you.
It just reminded me of my cousin. Her mom was telling her that you're just in the house roaming around. Don't worry, they'll open school and you go. You go and meet your colleagues there, and you see if you come back here the same. It's like, am I going to be punished? Am I going there to
No,
suffer?
you go and find out. So it's
Yeah.
So but it's a good thing it's gotten to policymakers.
Mm,
Yes, because yes, it's not just at the school level now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
but it's rather unfortunate that it had to take something as distasteful
as grave as this,
to-
someone
to-
had to lose their
to
life.
start for us to start having this conversation. I just hope it's not something that we just start and like after a few days and like well move on to the next thing.
Well,
No,
I think everybody's
but
gonna be on the lookout now.
it's the start of it because we need something in the realms of what we did with corporal punishment. Remember now, I mean,
It's
no teacher
illegal.
can
You don't
actually
lash,
hit a kid.
yeah, you
Yes,
don't- yeah.
it's actually the headmasters that can do it.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
it's just a headmaster. So the headmaster can actually hit, and even with that, some still have issues with that.
There's
yes.
some limits.
Yes,
that
so
you can
even
go.
that was a problem. So it's something we need to start having a conversation about. Parents, okay, what constitutes a realm of hazing?
Okay.
British would say initiation.
Mm.
Okay, I mean because for every cultural society or society, we create our own culture as to how we initiate people into our group,
Yeah.
into the fold.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
in let's say I like football, so let's say in the Chelsea camp, usually they will go out, they will eat, and they will ask you the new signing to sing on the
Yeah,
table or sing a certain song or do a certain weird dance. Sometimes they pour water on you or something like that. So every
It's just
society
the culture, just
exactly
yeah.
has its sort of culture.
And to induct you into that
Exactly.
space. Yeah.
So once you go through that, they feel you are one of them now. But there are certain practices or certain behaviors that are on the extreme.
Extreme, right?
Yes.
Right.
And culture is not something that
It's tactic.
is static, it's dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it's going to take a while. It's going to take
You
a
think?
huge, because look, people don't easily change like that.
It's
though.
been there for eons, like
Exactly.
a long time ago.
It's the reason this whole like Chimota thing dragged on and on for
Yeah,
like because they're like,
yeah.
no, this is how the school, this is the way we've done things. If you don't want to be a part of it, get
For
out.
years, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've seen recently the security services, conducted their recruitment, and they are kicking people that have stretch marks and someone will say vertically deficient. If you are not up to a certain height, they are kicking them out. And their explanation is, well, it's part of the rules. Okay, if you didn't cut it, that's it.
Right.
Okay, so every organization has the way they
They
do things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so having to have that conversation would mean a whole lot. Stakeholder
It would
engagement.
involve. Yeah, it would take a lot.
Yes, and it's a
lot
good
more
thing
than-
that
yeah.
even it is gone to the the echelons of power
The
where
ministry.
we have,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
where
yeah,
where
yeah.
the the politicians are now involved
Yeah.
in it, because left to just the ministries and all that, it's just going to be one or few experts here and there who normally will not get anything out of it. So I'm happy that it's gone there. But I mean, in the case of the kids, I mean, yes, now you have parents that would never see their kid again, and all they did was send him to school. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be the safest place away from home.
Right. And then we have kids
You have
who also be
children-
losing their children to, prison or possible stuff.
I mean, their lives have taken a
different
complete
toll, yeah.
different turn. Okay, they are not. I mean, their innocence is gone because
Very true. That may not be the intention.
that's not it. If
Exactly.
you listen to it, I mean, they are very remorseful and everything, because if you look at the stabbing, it was something from his cutlery set. So
Oh,
it
dear.
wasn't.
Oh dear.
You see,
It wasn't.
so-
Yeah.
It's rough, but okay. So remember, I said we'll look at some prevention issues. So let's quickly do that before I go. So let's come down to children. as a parent, how do you keep a handle on bullying?
Right.
Because yes, it's okay to say that okay, I'll look out for the signs, but sometimes the signs are not so obvious. So how do you
How do you? Yeah.
how do you manage the situation? Now, one, you can start by educating your children about it,
Okay.
because believe it or not, there are some bullish or bullying that they undergo that they sometimes don't even realize is bullying. But once you have a conversation or educate them about what bullying is,
Mm.
then they will be able to tell if they are the one perpetrating it
Or
or
the
they are the ones
victims.
on the receiving end.
Okay.
Yes, because some people are not even able to tell as victims.
Mm.
So the education starts there. What is it? Okay, if someone does this to you, if someone touches you, it's just what the conversation we sort of have around sexual reproductive health,
Yeah.
and defilement and everything.
Mm.
Because kids and even young boys, you tell you that okay, when this man calls you and touches this part of your body,
Yeah.
say no. Or if he tries to touch this, say no.
Mhm.
Sometimes some schools even turn it into some sort of music or songs
Yeah,
they sing
yeah,
every now and then.
yeah.
So
Just
the-
to create the awareness.
exactly
every now
for
and
them to
then.
understand that yes, when a person touches you in this manner,
It's
wrong. Yes.
inappropriate. Yeah.
So
Mm.
in that same vein, when it comes to bullying, it's something that we need to inculcate.
Mm.
Talking to them now, also not just educating them, but also you can look at openly having a conversation about it.
Mhm.
Okay, with your kids. Now, when your child comes from school, every now and then engage them.
Right.
Okay.
Mm.
Now, in your engagement, you ask them the mundane questions. Now, they are not so mundane, but these questions are meant to, because when a child is bullied, like I
Mm.
said, their confidence level suffers. So
Mm.
they are not
Mhm,
ready
mhm.
to open up. So if you ask them questions such as, say, oh, anything happen, anything
Yeah,
interesting happen
yeah,
in school,
mhm, mhm,
children have a way of actually telling you things and not telling you things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, in trying to even, and because of their naivety and innocence,
Mm-hmm.
they just blurt out serious stuff. All you have to do is pay attention. And sometimes you just read in between the lines. So
Mm.
maybe you ask them these mundane questions, and this kid's name keeps popping up in his stories.
Who is this kid?
I don't know if you get
Find
to
out about that
Find
kid,
out.
yeah.
Okay, so they just have a way of telling you things without actually. If you're
Mm.
I mean, so as a parent, you don't need someone to tell you to be invested in the life of your kid.
Absolutely.
Okay, so go the extra mile. Just maybe you might be keeping a busy schedule.
Mm.
Once in a while, just make that surprise trip to the school.
To the school. Mm.
Engage there and see what's going on there.
Ask about this kid that he keeps
Exactly.
mentioning every time you ask
Yes.
him about school.
And also,
Right.
now I said confidence. Yes. You see, for kids that are lacking in confidence,
Mm.
yes, a lot of the time, for some of us that helped, what helped us was, we grew up on the streets. You
Charlie,
can't say you have
Zongo.
Zongo. So, but
you just need to have
extra
defense
curricular
mechanism.
activities help in
Mhm.
building a child's confidence.
Okay.
Sports is one.
Okay.
So, if you grew up in the Zongos, definitely, you'll be running around playing football.
Playing
up and
football
down.
every now.
Yes, you will interact with kids, so you don't exactly have trouble, being confident and standing up on
For your own, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Standing up to bullies and everything. Because and for some, you see that they engage in combat sports.
Okay.
Like
Taekwondo.
karate
actually
training
had
and
one,
everything.
Yeah. Mm.
Yes, that all that it does is it's not meant to make your child violent. When it's taught right, they tell them no.
It's defensive.
It's for self-defense. You don't go
Yeah.
looking for trouble with it.
Mm.
But then, when push comes to shove,
You
are able to
yeah,
defend
yourself.
exactly.
Absolutely.
So, and it also builds their confidence in their character as well, because there's a lot of character molding around it where
Mm.
they actually have serious conversations.
Yeah, it's a discipline as well. So you
Exactly.
need to go by the
So,
rules. Yeah.
Yes. And also now in an era of cyberbullying,
Mm.
yes, with kids going online every now and then, it helps you become interested or be a part of their online experience,
Mm.
getting to know what sites they visit and everything. Notice they are moody after an online engagement,
Yeah.
but basically keep an eye on the sort of things they watch, the sort of things they do online as
Mhm.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because these days you never know the contents they are exposed to.
Very true.
So yes, so if a kid or someone is out there bullying them,
Mm-hmm.
I remember connecting my kid sister's
Yeah, you
phone,
told me about it.
yes,
Yeah.
to tablet, and it was a good thing my sister actually caught it, not mine. But
Right.
it's just a few examples of some of the things as guardians, parents, you can actually do to
Okay.
help nip it in the bud.
All right. Well, interesting conversation right there on bullying. So yeah, well, if you caught it, these are some of the recommendations. There are more that you can, read, learn from. And of course, you might want to listen to what we talked about later on demand on africaglobalradio.com. So that's it. So if you have a kid exhibiting some of the characteristics or showing signs of what Hafiz mentioned earlier, you might want to take a second look at the school, talk to the teacher, ask them more questions. And Hafiz.
Yeah, it reminds me of this experience a guy shared on his Twitter page. Now, I think he drives his daughter
Okay.
to school in a very expensive car. I think it's a Mercedes or so, C-Class or so. And she rocks one of these expensive sneakers. I mean, you are a sneakerhead, so
Yeah.
yes, his daughter. Now, I think one time it came to his attention that his daughter was bullying another girl.
His daughter was the one.
It was the bully.
Wow.
Yes. And after the interaction, he
Mhm.
realized the problem. So he decided, well, he was going to make her start taking the bus. She was bullying the
Right.
other kid because the other kid was from a poor family.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And he was like, okay, well, I grew up with nothing and I'm trying to make you, not lack
Mm-hmm.
where I had to suffer together. So, and then if this is the result, well, you need some character molding of your own.
You need adjustment.
Yeah, exactly. So he said he's decided to take away those privileges.
Uh-huh.
So no more Mercedes rides anymore. She's going to get a bus ride instead.
Right.
No more expensive sneakers. She's
Mhm.
going to get one from
Thank you.
from a bed that boutique.
Yeah, go get
Yes,
it. Get a
yes.
piece of your own.
Yes, until she actually acts nice.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm.
those privileges are taken. And I mean, I saw the comments. People
I think it's a great.
commending him.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Because I mean, some would be like, "Oh, beat it," but
Beating won't solve the problem.
exactly.
And the thing too is, the other angle to it is, sometimes even the parents of the perpetrators may not see it as them bullying the other party. It takes a parent who is very conscious about some of these things to identify. Because if you tell your parent that, or a certain parent that your kid is beating my
Your child is weak.
Wait, no, it happened because the lady that my aunt's daughter, the son that I told you about, she went to the school and the mother of the other kid said, is he not a man?
Wow.
So he should meet him boot for boot, as these politicians
Okay.
would say. You know, it's kind of like she is rather encouraging the other one to, because the first thing that my aunt was like, when he beats you, beat him back. But the kid didn't have that confidence in him. Like, look, regardless of how far I go, this guy will still kick me. So he went, and the mother was like, hey, is he not a man? Hey, you should also show him that. So some of them don't see it as bullying. You don't see their children being the perpetrators. They rather see their children taking a shot at someone who should, in normal sense,
There's a jungle out there in school. So
dude, isn't it you live or
Yes.
that kind of thing? So
you either beat or be beaten.
absolutely.
But
So yeah,
it's a sad reality of things. I mean,
mm.
for most of and the funny thing is, I mean, when you talk about these issues, someone will like, okay, well, we all went through it and we turned out fine. No, you didn't. Who says you're fine?
have you actually looked deep within yourself?
Exactly. I mean, who says you're fine? So it's a conversation we need to start having about the sort of treatment, because I mean, you can't have you going home or leaving your child at school and then they come back with a swollen eye. I think at least that's what I came home with one time.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Right. Well, tell me about it afterwards. The show is Africa Daily on Africa Global Radio. This is where time will permit us to go with our conversation on bullying. For more, log on to africaglobalradio.com on demand.